in my history class it's brought up a lot to say, like, you know, against the church is the Inquisition. And, you know, I feel like that's a very, like, a thorn in the side of a lot of Catholic arguments. And I just want, if you could get into that, that would be awesome.
Okay. Well, a lot of people misunderstand the function of the Inquisition because, see, we're talking about a time in history where the rulers of the lands actually took faith very seriously, and they knew that they were accountable to God for how they ruled their people. They wanted to produce an environment that was good, not just corporeally, but spiritually for their subjects. So heresy was actually a crime punishable by the state. The thing is that you don't just want secular authorities being the one who judge if something's heresy or not. So this is during the time of the Albigensians, a heresy that sprung up in the borderlands between France and Spain. And it was a Gnostic heresy. And the Inquisition was actually started in response to that. Basically what they did is they just served as they were clerics from the Vatican who could just judge whether a person was obstinately professing was or wasn't heresy. And then they had no power to put any penalty on them. That was the state. It's just the state then wasn't the one saying this is heresy. It was the official position of the church whether or not something was heresy.
And what about the numbers? I mean, you guys can both speak to this. Like, you know, I've heard like thousands and thousands of people like died in result of this. And, you know, I've been, when people have asked me about this is why I really want to get into it, is like, I just don't even have an answer because I'm not knowledgeable on it. But what are your, in regards to like the scale of carnage, I guess?
Okay. So number of people killed by the actual Inquisition, 0, because they had no power to levy any penalties on anybody. As far as numbers of people who were executed after the Inquisition had judged them heretics by the state that was prosecuting them, numbers vary, but it's almost ubiquitously less than 1,000.
And it also seems like there was like a due process like with this.
They invented due process.
Right. Yeah, no, I've heard that because, you know, a lot of the times it's like, you know, if you're against the church, you're gone, you know, but there was like a methodical process to this.
And then it was also very in accordance with canon law. If somebody just speaks a heresy, that's not the crime. It's obstinately teaching and professing the heresy that is.
I'm always saying to my high school students, when they'll say something heretical, I'll say, you're a material heretic, repent or become a formal heretic. Right?
Yes.
And that's the idea, is like, hey, you realize what you said was wrong? Because it's cool. If you realize what was wrong, you just got to just like take it back.
No, I mean, the part of the process, a lot of it was like they had to first find out what it was the person was actually speaking, that people weren't always honest about that. But after that, there was a process of like almost conversation and dialogue where they tried to steer the person away from that. And if the person recanted, they wouldn't give the guilty verdict to the state that was prosecuting them.
Whoa, hey, you made it to the end of the video. Way to go. Congratulations. Good for you. That's hard to do nowadays. If you have a second, could you please drop us a like, subscribe, and if you really enjoyed this episode, go check out our full Honest to God. This is just a clip. There's so much more to this.